President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance just went nuclear on Abdul El-Sayed, the socialist candidate up there in Michigan. Also, there are reports coming out that organizations that are linked to terrorist groups donated to El-Sayed's campaign. And Mamdani got viciously booed at an event where he had to make a hasty retreat. Let us get into our first story. After Abdul El-Sayed, the socialist candidate, won his primary up there in Michigan, President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance did not waste any time in going after El-Sayed to expose him for the person that he truly is, which is a communist socialist individual that wants to change everything about this country and not for the better.
The communists will take us 100%. When I watch Abdul, he's full of shit. He's a communist. And the polls were wrong again last night when they thought it would be a landslide victory for a hater of Jews and a hater of Israel. This guy hates Jews. Somebody said, oh, that's a little strong. No, he hates Jews and he hates Israel. Abdul El-Sayed. Can you believe this? This could only happen to me. Abdul El-Sayed, lovely gentleman. He's a man of hate. And now he's going around saying, no, I love everybody. He doesn't love everybody. Put him in office. You're going to find out what he loves.
That was President Trump a short while ago at a rally exposing Abdul El-Sayed for being an anti-Semite. And President Trump is right, because we're going to get into this later on in the episode to outline exactly who Abdul El-Sayed is when it comes to who he chooses to hang around and affiliate himself with. But here we have President Trump continuing to call out all these communists, and then we'll take a look at what J.D. Vance had to say in regards to Abdul El-Sayed. Watch this.
Communism is the greatest threat to our country in its history, including even World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. I think it's the greatest threat. I could be the greatest communist in history. I tell everybody here, would you like a free house? We'll take one from your neighbor. Would you like free rent? We'll take it from whoever. We'll take your building away from the landlord that makes 2%, and we'll rent the building ourselves. What they don't say, and what Republicans should say, is that at the end of a year, you'll have nothing but death, squalor, poverty. You'll have a life of hell. And that's what happens every single time.
Communism is definitely a threat to this country, and I'm happy President Trump is actually talking about this, because the Democrats, they've been taken over by this movement and they cannot fight back. They cannot do anything at all. So the only person that can fight back against this thing, this virus, is President Trump. And here we have Vice President J.D. Vance torching these communist socialists. Watch this.
This is exactly what El-Sayed and these limousine socialists are actually selling to the American people. They're not promising you industry. They're not promising you good jobs. They're not promising self-sufficiency and a good industrial economy. What they're promising is redistribution. Again, we've seen this in Europe and in the United States. The idea that you can build real prosperity by just redistributing assets from one group to another group, that's not how you build real prosperity. You have to actually sustain the foundation of the economy. That is what the President of the United States has worked us towards for the past 18 months. It's going to continue to pay dividends. But I think, again, Laura, this is an important point. A lot of Americans look at this rising tide of socialism and say, how did we get here? We got here by 40 years of bipartisan leaders selling our industrial base to foreign countries, allowing low-wage immigrants to come in and compete with Americans for jobs, by destroying the foundation of the middle class. That's how you got socialism.
So J.D. Vance just said a lot of good stuff right here, but my views may differ a little bit from J.D. Vance's. And I don't know if you guys would agree with me or not. I think the number one reason why socialism, communism is on the rise in America is because of immigration. Because when you import a whole bunch of folks from all these different countries, these failing countries, they're going to bring with them these worldviews and these failed experiments that cause their countries to fail. You look at all these people that are advocating for socialism and communism, where are they from? And here we have J.D. Vance continuing to call out Abdul El-Sayed. Watch this.
The base of the Democratic Party just wants radicals. It wants these DSA types. It wants people who hate even the idea of private property ownership. But it also, I think, tells us that that particular set of ideas is very popular in places you wouldn't expect, because Al-Sayed, he's this guy who holds himself out as a working class hero, as a guy who's going to fight for the working class. How does he fight for the working class? By flooding his state and his country with low-wage immigrants. Of course, those people will drive down the wages of the working class. And he also doesn't want to do anything to protect the Michigan auto industry. He has fought against the Trump tariffs that have saved the Michigan auto industry.
I don't know if J.D. Vance is playing nice and not wanting to call it out for what it is, but I think a lot of these issues that we're facing in this country is because of immigration. Am I anti-immigration? No, I'm not. I'm actually pro-legal immigration, where this country should accept people that wants to come here and build up America and not tear it down. Let us move on to our next story. Since we're on the topic of Abdul El-Sayed, there's this story that came out that's saying that organizations that are linked to terrorist groups donated to Abdul El-Sayed. And here we have this report explaining that Abdul El-Sayed's campaign has collected more than $115,000 from individuals who work for or held leadership roles with the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE, which has been designated a terrorist organization by the UAE and formally designated or labeled as such in Florida and Texas as well. And here we have a testimony exposing the alleged links between terrorist groups and Abdul El-Sayed. Watch this.
Do you believe that there is a Muslim Brotherhood branch operating in the United States?
Yes.
Does Abdul El-Sayed's candidacy for senator in Michigan concern you?
Yes, sir, it does.
Why is that?
Well, to begin with, I look at the connections that his father-in-law, Chakaku Tayyib, has to Brotherhood-linked groups. This includes being the president at one time of CARE Michigan, also his presence on the Islamic Society of North America Founders Committee, which is only for those most exclusively devoted to ISNA and provide a significant amount of funding. There are other known Brotherhood members on that committee. I would also look at El-Sayed's ties to a group called Mgage, which purports to be a Muslim sort of get-out-the-vote or candidate recruitment organization, but it has close ties to CARE. It was created by a former CARE member who at one time was on a terror watch list and was also a consultant to convicted terrorist Sami al-Arian.
These allegations are shocking, but it's also not, especially when you look at who Abdul El-Sayed was campaigning with. Hassan Piker, the same guy that said America deserved 9/11.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
The question that I have is, how can you be running for the U.S. Senate and affiliate yourself with someone like Hassan Piker? And even more recently, Hassan Piker called American voters POS, pieces of shit, because they did not vote for Abdul El-Sayed. Watch this.
You are all unbelievably Islamophobic pieces of okay? You literally called the dude a terrorist for months on end and like called him a sexist, misogynist, terrorist, bad candidate, doesn't fake doctor when he has like 2 degrees.
Well, that's the Democrats' big tent. That's the big tent for the Democrats. And Abdul El-Sayed, he was asked about Hassan Piker. Will you continue to essentially campaign with him? And this is what Abdul El-Sayed said in light of everything that we know about Hassan Piker.
Do you intend to continue to campaign with Hassan Piker?
I'm focused on campaigning in this state, all over the state. I'm not as focused on who I'm campaigning with. I'm focused on who I'm campaigning for, which is the 10 million people in the state, reaching out to them in their communities like I have for the past 15 months.
It is extremely frightening that someone like this may be a senator one day, someone that's running for office. It's just insane to me how the Democrats managed to nominate someone like Abdul El-Sayed. And for a minute, let's just take a look at his opponent on the Republican side, someone that actually served the country, someone that loves this country. So the question is, what's going on with the Democrat Party? Watch this.
You know what's crazy about this, Laura? I have to tell you, as a guy that served in the United States military, as a guy that was a special agent with the FBI, kicking in doors for drug dealers and human traffickers and gangsters, the guy that was the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, I am shocked that I am running against a guy who believes that 9/11, America deserved 9/11. I mean, it's just shocking to me that we have gotten here.
At this point, I think if you identify as a Democrat, or even worse, vote for a Democrat, I think you're voting for the destruction of this country, because there's no way someone like this guy is running for the Senate. But let us move on to our next story and talk about what happened to Mamdani. So Mamdani went to this police event on Staten Island, and basically what happened, the residents over there, they just booed him. It was not a good day for Mamdani. Take a look at this. So that was Zoran Mamdani getting booed over there on Staten Island because he went to this event to give this speech. But they did not want him over there. They told him to leave immediately. And he spoke for barely a minute before he had to make a hasty retreat. And here we have Zoran Mamdani retreating.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for some more dancing? Oh, no, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're getting awards. Somebody's getting an award. You want to see who's getting an award? Come on, guys. I want some energy here.
And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Abdul El-Sayed is fit to be a senator? Also, let me know what you think about all these reports pretty much linking him to these alleged terrorist groups. Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.